Tulsi Maharani Jaya, 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 Maharani Jaya, Tulsi Maharani Jaya, Tulsi Maharani Jaya, Rinde, Jaya 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 Rinde.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopichana Vallava Girivanadari Gopichana Vallava Girivanadari Sodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramamsa Parivraja Kacharya Astotara Satashi Shimad Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramamsa Parivraja Kacharya Astotara Satashi Shimad Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shikaro Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. New Goloka Dham Ki Jai. Sankirtan Jaga Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Book distribution Ki Jai. Prasadam distribution Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Shrimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Virayet. So, verse 42. Kaveyam Vishama Buddhi Sarva Bhuteshu Duridam Yan Manyase Sadabhadram Suridam Badram Agyavat Kaveyam Vishama Buddhi Sarva Bhuteshu Duridam Yan Manyase Sadabhadram Suidam Badramait Yavat. Taveyam Vishama Buddhi. Sarva Bhute Shududhidam. Yan Manyasi Sada Badram. Suidam Badramag Yavat. Viyam Vishama Buddhi. Sarva Bhuteshu Dudridam. Manyase Sada Badram. Suidam Badramagyavat. Taveyam Vishama Buddhi. Sarva Bhuteshu Duridam. Tanasi Sada Badram. Suidam Badramagyavat. Tava your. Yam this. Vishama bias. Bias? Bias? Bias. Okay, bias. Buddhi, attitude. Sarva Bhuteshu, toward all living beings. Duridam, of those who have ill intentions. Yat, that. Manyase, you wish. Sada, always. Abhadram, evil. Suridam, to your well-wishers. Badram, good. Agyavat, like an ignorant person. Translation. To Rukmini, Balaram said, your attitude is unfair, for like an ignorant person, you wish good to those who are inimical to all living beings, and you have done evil to your true well-wishers. Please repeat. To Rukmini, Balaram said, your attitude is unfair, for like an ignorant person, you wish good to those who are inimical to all living beings, and you have done evil to your true well-wishers. So there is no purport. Miranda Sia Gyanam Gyana Sayakaya. Chakshu Unmilitam Gyana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, yesterday I did get the purport, the commentary by the Acharyas, but of course I had a problem. Thank you. I couldn't download it. So he has it. Thank you very much. Okay. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, but this rule is for situations other than war. The rule in war is that the enemy should be defeated and made insignificant. Guessing that this was Krishna's internal thought, Balaram then spoke to Rukmini with this verse. Krishna treatment of relatives who have evil intentions to all beings, such as shaving your brother, which you think is wrong for them, is actually correct. It is due to your biased intelligence, like that of ignorant people, though actually you have good intelligence. And then Jiva Goswami is saying, Balaram spoke to Rukmini, enlightening her by means of Dharma in order to pacify her. Such instructions were not necessary for Krishna. Since she did not give up lamenting, he speaks with anger at first, enlightening her with teachings of Gyan, containing a secret message for her to have her give up lamenting. Just as you desire bad for those among all beings who appears to show animosity, you desire good for Rukmi and others who appear to show friendship, and to others you are neutral. This is disturbed intelligence, like that of ignorant people. There is another meaning in which Suridam modifies Duridam. Among all beings, you wish bad fortune to Shishupal and others who are confirmed as enemies, and you wish good to their friends like Rukmi, who assist them. Thus you have disturbed intelligence. You should think of them as enemies as well, and wish them bad fortune. Sanatana Goswami. Though the words for Rukmini, he addressed Krishna. However, she did still not give up lamenting. Thus he stopped speaking to Krishna and enlightened her with philosophical teachings. You wish good fortune for friends and the opposite for enemies. Phew, there's a lot of in that. But I'll keep it for the next one. Thanks. So also there is another devotee that did that. Draupadi. You know, when Ashvatthama, I mean, this is a horrible thing. You know, he killed their 5 sons. I mean, nothing can be worse for a mother. And she was so magnanimous that she was thinking, she was thinking about Ashvatthama, but she was really thinking about the mother of Ashvatthama. And she was thinking about Dronacharya. And because of that, she forgave. And that's quite amazing. So that's a mood of compassion. But here, it's explained that, Balaram, Lord Balaram was kind of straightening up things here. So now we'll do verse 43 and 44. 43. Atma mohunrinam eva kalpate deva mayaya surid dudrid udashina idehatma maninam. The Supreme Lord's Maya makes men forget their real selves, and thus taking the body for the self, they consider others to be friends, enemies, or neutral parties. Comment by the Acharya because there is no purport. Okay. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, I know that my brother is evil, but though that is so, still I have some attachment as a relative. What can I do? Certainly, for an elevated person like you, such bad judgment is not proper. But for worldly people, this is their natural tendency. For those who think that their bodies are themselves, there is such bewilderment, but not for the persons in knowledge. Jiva Goswami says, one considers someone as a friend and someone as an enemy. And sometimes one person is considered a friend and sometimes an enemy. Another meaning is as follows. Those who do not experience Krishna Prema look for friendship elsewhere. That is explained in this and the next verse. Sanatana Goswami says, the illusion of the mind or the self produces notions that someone is a friend, someone is an enemy, or someone is neutral by the Lord's Maya, because people think themselves to be the body. This is all illusion and difficult to surpass. Or this illusion of the self, produced by the Lord's Maya, causes one to think someone is a friend and someone is an enemy. Mention of enemies and neutral parties is a general statement, not indicating Rukmini's mind. This reminded me of a verse in Bhagavad Gita. It's 6:19, I believe, if I remember well. So, here it is. No, it's not. Okay. Anyway, there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita that says, one who considers a well-wisher And what's the verse? One you consider equally a friend, enemy, well-wisher. Where's that verse? I had it yesterday, but now I don't remember. I should have written it. Next time. I'll try. Let's go for the next verse. Eka eva paroi atma sarvesham apidehinam naneva griyate muder yata jyotir yata naba. Those who are bewildered perceive the one supreme soul who reside in all embodied beings as many, just as one may perceive the light in the sky or the sky itself as many. Purport by the follower of Srila Prabhupada. The last line of this text, Yata Jyotir Yata Naba, introduces two analogies in which we perceive one thing to be many. Jyoti indicates the light of heavenly bodies, such as the sun or the moon. Although there is only one moon, we may see the moon reflected in pools, rivers, lakes, and buckets of water. Then it would appear as if there were many moons, although there is only one. Similarly, we perceive a divine presence in each living being, because the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, although He is one. The second analogy given here, Yata Nabaha, is that of the sky. If we have a row of sealed clay pots in a room, the sky or air is in each pot, although the sky itself is one. The Srimad Bhagavatam gives a similar analogy concerning fire and wood. Yata I avaito vanir daruj vekas vayonishu naneva bati vishvatma bhuteshu sat sata pumam. The Lord, as the Super Soul, pervades all things, just as fire permeates wood, and so He appears to be of many varieties, though He is the Absolute One without a second. Let's see if there is something from the Acharya for this one. Yeah. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, in two verses, he refutes the misconception of those who think the body is the self. First, he states that the body is not the Super Soul. The Super Soul is certainly the one inspirer of the many jivas with bodies. Two examples are given to show one is the basis of many. It is like fire within wood, and ether in the pot, as it is said in the first canto, Yata I avaito. The Lord, as Super Soul, pervades all things, just as fire permeates wood, and so He appears to be of many varieties, though He is the Absolute One without a second. Jiva Goswami says, we directly see variety in the universe. So then, there should also be friendship in the universe. How do you say that? This is illusion about Atma. All the jivas are spiritual in nature, and thus actually have no difference. They are one only, Eka. As Amsas of Paramatma, they all have similar Svarupa. Paramatma, with inconceivable energy, is like the sun. The Atmas, as Amsas of Tataksha Shakti, are like particles of light in the sun rays. Since the Atmas are like the light of the sun, because of the inconceivable energy at Chintya Shakti, there is no room for raising an objection about them. They are one because the Atma is different from the body. There is variety only because of bodies. There is no variety in the Atma. How can variety be perceived since the Atmas are all without material disturbances? The variety arises because of variety in the Atma's location. Examples are given. In the first example of light, perceived as many reflections, there is difference perceived between the object and its reflection. Thus another example is given, the sky and the pot. There is another meaning. Atat tatvak sham matrivad atma hi paramohari. The Lord is called Atma, since He spreads everywhere and is the source of everything like a mother. Quoted in Sridhar's Bhagavatam commentary. The Supreme Lord, Atma, is one only. He is the one Atma in all those who identify, is the one Atma in all those who identify with their bodies. He is in reality the best superior para to all of them, exhibiting the highest prema. The Atmas, those who identify with bodies, are accepted by fools to be supreme. When illusion dissolves in some persons, they perceive Atma in its true form according to qualification, which with a shadow of prema. An example is given. If one has not seen the sun, a lamp is accepted as the supreme. Having not seen the expansive sky, flies take the space in a Udumbaratri to be the supreme sky. Okay, Sanatan Goswami says, a lot of commentaries, we directly see variety in the universe. So then there should also be friendship in the universe. How do you say that? This is illusion about Atma. All the jivas are spiritual in nature and thus actually have no difference. They are one only. There is one Atma for all those receiving various types of bodies, of 4 types, since it is different from the bodies. The bodies are various, but not the Atma. Why is variety perceived? There is variety in the upadi of bodies. An example is given. It looks like variety for fools who do not know the truth or identify with their bodies, but is actually one. Phew! That's really something else. Okay, I'll try to make it a little more simple. This is really, I can't understand it really well. But what I did yesterday is that there is a wonderful site in the computer it's called Srimad Bhagavatam classes. And I went to listen to one, and I listened 2 times and a half actually, and it really enlivened me. So I want to carry it to you because it was a beautiful class. It was a class given in Melbourne by Bhakta Prabhu, who is a disciple of Hridayananda Maharaj. And he explains on this purport something very nice. You see, this purport is speaking about, or the text is speaking, 44? Yeah, so like explaining that the Supreme Soul who resides in all embodied beings is perceived as many. So he told a very interesting story. He said when he was a young man, 18 years old, he was looking for God. So he was told by his priest that you find God by compassion and by telling others about God. So it made sense to him. And, there is some truth in it. So then he embarked on an adventure of he went to New Guinea. And they took a plane in the middle of nowhere, and there was a community of natives. And he stayed there 2 months. He was seeing these Catholic priests trying to tell these people, these simple, loving people, that they were living in harmony with nature. He was trying to convert them to their understanding of God, which was very foggy. And he said there was a lot of lack of compassion, a lot of hypocrisy, and a lot of ignorance and all that. So he was very disappointed. So he went to the head and he said, I'm taking the next plane out because I don't believe in what you're doing. So then he kept doing his search for Krishna. And some friend told him about drugs, and it was the time of Timothy Leary and all that. So he tried that, but that was just an empty shell. He got real depressed, and it wasn't interesting. So then he saw one of his friends that showed up one day, and his friend was pretty much glowing. He said, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm doing meditation, and it's great. So he said, okay. So he was an artist, that devotee, Bhakta Das. He's still an artist. And he ran out of this sculpture class, and he went to join the TM meditation. And it was Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And he was taking classes, and he kept asking, who is God? And he kept getting the answer, take the next course, it will come, it will come. And we all went through that. A lot of us went through that, you know. It's like I was asking Catholic priests, you know, who is God and like that. And it's like, what happened? You know, it's a mystery. You will know after you die, you know. So we got a lot of that. And but one day, something very interesting in the group that he was, somebody gave him a little picture of Krishna. And he just loved that picture. And another day, somebody gave him some Srimad Bhagavatam. He started reading the Bhagavatam. And he was so grateful that someone knew who God was. And that he was only one. He can be perceived as many, but he was only one. He was given an extraordinary knowledge of who God was, the gift that Srila Prabhupada gave us. And he became so happy. And then there was a meeting, like kind of instead of bonding. They were asking, how is your meditation doing? And he said, oh, it's great. He said, I got this little picture of Krishna, and when I do this meditation, I remember Krishna, and it's wonderful. So they go, the teachers, you know. And he said, one of his teachers said, well, you be careful, because you might be very soon on the street chanting with those Hare Krishnas. And he said, well, that might not be such a bad idea. And he kept, so just a little bit late, then after that, he went to, at the end of his course, one day at Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, they made an announcement and they said, Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, has departed from this planet. And then his friend that was also reading the Bhagavatam, they look at each other and they say, oh no, we missed the train. They were so dejected. But then, because they were reading the Bhagavatam, they went to the temple and they connected to Srila Prabhupada in that way. And now he's doing very nice service, actually. He is teaching meditation as an opening for people to come to Krishna consciousness, teaching them. And he is speaking in a very beautiful way. It really enlivened my japa, and I want to share that with you. He spoke about just like when brahmanas are trying to ignite a fire, they don't use matches, they can do it by mantras and also by rubbing 2 arani wood sticks. And he says something like, when the soul and when there is chanting of Om or Hare Krishna, then it's like there is a fire that's being ignited in the heart by these two, by the chanting and the soul and the Paramatma. And then one becomes aware that Krishna is actually there because we are calling. And when we call, and he cited Bhakti Cheru Swami, and I really appreciated that. He said, before japa, Bhakti Cheru Swami was saying that to get in the mood of chanting japa, he was saying, Krishna, I love you, and I want to love you more. So he's chanting japa in that mood, in a way of, I want to come closer to you, I want to do my service in a loving way. You know, my devotional service, because it can be done, devotional service can be done in the 3 modes. But when one wants to do service, calls out to Krishna to do the service in a loving way, then the spiritual advancement is so much faster and so much more satisfying. And this morning I was listening to a lecture of Srila Prabhupada about, it was, not the title. Anyway, it was about Krishna's love. There is actually, I put on Google Krishna's love, and it was very, Srila Prabhupada has a few lectures showing that how much Krishna loves us, and that he wants us to awaken and reciprocate. And I'll tell you a story that happened on Sankirtan about 2 weeks ago. It was really tough that day. because it was a football game. And football games are really austere for me because people come at you like, ugh, like you know, when I see them like that, I think about a bunch of rats going into the ocean of birth and death. You know, it's like, and they don't think, you can't, you know, so it's very difficult. So I was praying to Radha Golokananda, and I was saying, but I was praying, but I was being a little bit rebellious too. I was like, Radha Golokananda, that's it. I cannot do this anymore. It's too hard, you know. Please give me some encouragement because I really can't go on. So Krishna really reciprocated in such a wonderful way. I was, of all places, at the Burger Shack. Because, you know what? I tried to go to some more so-called elevated place, and people just kick me out, you know. I mean, excuse me, but you just cannot be here. So anyway, those people there, they were pretty humble, and for years, they have been really kind, and they let me do my Sankirtan. So I was doing my Sankirtan, giving them Nitai and Gauranga's holy name, engaging them in service, and giving them a little prasada. And this man was watching me. And he was probably in his 50s. And I knew he didn't want a balloon. I was like, you know, it's probably the last thing on his mind. But I turned to him, and I was like, do you want me to approach you or not? You know, it's like, there was a kind of, and he went like, what the heck, I'll do it. You know, like, that was. And then he opens, he saw what I was doing, and he gave me a donation much bigger than I ever thought. And then he had this bracelet that I kept. He gets it out of his arm, and his bracelet was saying, God loves you, he always has, he always will. That was some reciprocation. So there is such gift, you know, in just crying out to Krishna and asking to try to do our service in the best way we can, in a loving way. There is so, and then, okay, so I'm going back to the class of Bhaktadas because I really liked it. He said something, he said, when by our chanting, the fire is ignited in our hearts, then we want to ignite the fire in other people's hearts. And in the beginning, they were so, you know, immature. We were all so immature. And what they did is that they went to all the TM meetings, and there were 6 to 8 of them, all in, you know, dhotis, shaved head, Sika, and they were sitting in the back, and they were listening to the presentation that they were giving. And these people, the TM people, they were, you know, saying, oh yeah, if you do meditation, you'll get this sense gratification and that sense gratification, and it will be so good for you and all that. And then, you know, the people that were doing, the person that was doing the presentation, when he was seeing the devotees like that, they started feeling so intimidated. So eventually, Maharishi kind of banned the devotees from being there because they had the desire, because as soon as they finished their presentation, because they were saying in the presentation, if you just give $2,000-$3,000, you know, you'll be enlightened and all that. So anyway, at the end, because they were trying to get some new people to join, but then the devotees were in the back, and after the presentation, they were approaching the people. And there was a different, they were giving the Maha Mantra for free, like Srila Prabhupada gave us, and he gave us this extraordinary gift. And it's being spread and given to everyone. And it's such mercy. And there is a beautiful verse that I remember, and if I run out of things to say, maybe we can run and learn it together. It's a verse, Srimad Bhagavatam. It's 1:2:17. It goes, I really love that verse because last time I gave a class, I said I really like verses. So Kamalini told me her favorite verse. And it's that verse. And then I said, well, if she likes it, I'll learn it. Because, you know, it's enlivening when we tell each other verses and we learn because somebody else likes it, then it's a loving exchange. So it goes like that. Shrinvatam svakata Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha vidyantastu yabhadrani vidunoti suritsitam. It's so beautiful, the translation. Is Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord within all living entities, cleanses desires for material enjoyment from the heart of a truthful devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Isn't that a beautiful verse? You got it? Can we put it on? Because I run out of things to say. Oh, okay. Okay, well, you can, if you want to learn it, you can learn it. It's 1, 2, 17. It's really beautiful. Okay, anything else? Oh, yes. Something else that's interesting. Like, God is perceived as many. It's like when I have conversation with my sister, it's once or twice a year. But, she ends up sometimes telling me, the true God. And, she thinks she understands more because... So anyway, there is a very nice story in chasing the rhinos with the Swami. And he said that the first Sankirtan party, when they stopped in the Middle East, they were so inexperienced. They just decided, they were in the middle, they were surrounded by Muslims. And they thought, well, we do our Sankirtan because we're the World Sankirtan Party, and that's what we do. So they set up a little altar, and they started chanting. And there were guards, with, what do you call it, those big rifles, with big rifles. And one devotee got pretty scared. He goes, I think I'm going to take a walk. So he went to take a walk, and when he came back, the guards had the rifle leaning on the top. I don't know what to say. On something. They had the rifle laying on something. And Giriraj Swami, who was Giriraj Prabhu at that time, had them both by the hands, and they were chanting Hare Krishna because it was another name for Allah. That's pretty good. So there is so many, and he says something very interesting, Bhaktadas, also, about sometimes we want to ignite the fire in other people's heart, but they will resist because logically it makes sense. There is nobody that can defeat this philosophy. It's the highest philosophy, it's the best philosophy. It satisfies the intelligence, it satisfies the heart. But people will say, it's your belief. Because inside of them, they know that if they agree, they will have to come to Sarvadhamam Parityajya. And that's pretty scary because it's not an easy thing to do. So they need a lot of reassurance, actually, and a lot of gentleness to be able to make the baby steps that they need to make. So anyway, so I think that's that. Let's see if there is anything else I can think about. Oh yeah, he said something very interesting. He said, when we speak with someone, we have a relationship with someone, if we become conscious that Krishna is in the heart of every living entity, then when we speak to that person, we're not dealing only with the body, the mind, or that soul, but we are also speaking to Krishna within that heart. And Krishna within that heart has so much compassion. And in order to be in harmony with Krishna, we also have to show compassion. That's it. Phew. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. That was hard. It was a lot. I can't understand all that.
Actually, you do.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Menam Kanvandam Aravindanalayatakam Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Nishesha Shobha
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Tamaham Bhajami. Namago Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Namade Namaste Sarvati Deve Gauravani Vachar Nagini Visesha Shunyavati Basya Jagade Satanane Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Siva Sade Gaurmata Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadada Siva Sade Gaurmata Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadada Shiva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nana Radha Gokinana Pragade Ragarokinana, Radhakarokinana, Ragate. Nayo Rate, 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 Hey, Rate, Rate, Jai Om Vishnu. Jayama Kunda, Radhakunda, Giri Govardhan ki jai, Vrindavanam ki jai, Machuram ki jai. Jagannath Sam ki jai.
Just a quick announcement that we'll be having Harinam Sankirtan on Saturday at Weaver Street Market here in Hillsborough, 11:30 till 1. We'd like to do it on Friday, but it's going to rain, so we'll do Saturday. Yeah, it's last Friday, it's going to rain. Anyway. Chaitodarpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Pranamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Paravijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smarane Nakala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amani Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani ishvare bhavatad bhaktir hoitaki twai ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddha kripayata vapada pankaja stita duli sajashim vachintaya nayanam galashru daraya varanam gad gadaridaya gira Pulakarnishitam vapukada tavanamagrahane bhavishyati yuga yatam nimishena chakshusha pravashayatam shunayatam jagat sarvam govindam virahename ashlishya vapadam nastu mam adarshanam marmahatakarotuva Yatatava vidadatu lampato mat prananatastu sa eva napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss. and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh, Govinda, your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord.